Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hot Rod Dad channel. Glad you came. I hope you stay. If you like the content on the channel, give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. This week, just running out to a buddy's shop here, bring him some oil dry, and we're going to check out his Studebaker gasser and get an update. This is my buddy Todd's place, aka the slow child at play. So let's go in, see if we can get a glimpse of the Studebaker here. What's going on?
Come on in, Dennis.
So what do we got going on here?
Oh, you caught me trying to get my old brain cells to remember how the front end went together. Now that everything's been painted and ready for final assembly, I've just started putting all the front steering mechanism back together. You just missed me putting the steering box and nearly dropping the new painted steering box on the floor, but got it in there and just starting to do suspension work. And when you get through being a filmmaker, I'm going to put you to balancing a 9-inch forward rear end while I bolt a couple things in place. Oh
no!
Yeah,
now I didn't come out here to work.
Putting you to work.
So just to recap, folks, last time we saw this, it was in the original paint, and you're building this to compete?
Southeast gassers in the H gas class, which is for 6-cylinders, 4-cylinders, Corvairs, Volkswagens, and flathead V8 Fords.
And you'll be running what kind of engine here?
That I'm going to be running a 4-liter, essentially a AMC Jeep. It's the same engine they made from 1964 to 2006. Made them forever. 251 cubic inches. It's a 60 overboard, what everybody knows is a 4-liter, 242 cubic inch. This is our backup engine. We just couldn't get all the parts with supply chain issues and all that stuff that's going on. We couldn't get everything we needed, so I had enough parts to throw this engine together, and it'll get us to the track. But honestly, the only thing in there that's not stock is the rod bolts and the cam. It's a stock crank, stock rods. Yeah, it's it'll be lucky if it's 9.5 or 10 to 1 compression ratio.
Well, it'll help you get the car dialed in and see what it's going to do.
It'll get us to the track. We'll get her good engine built over the winter, and maybe be a little more of a player by then.
Not that it matters, but I really dig the color.
Do you really want to know what color that is?
It looks like a Mopar color.
That has become my favorite engine color. It's basically what I've said I'm going to paint all my engines from now on. That is 1962 Chrysler turquoise.
I'll dock it.
And I paint them that because I like it, and I've got a bunch of it.
It looks good.
It's good paint.
So we've got it in paint now.
Oh, yeah, let me lay this down here, because at my age, if I lay it down somewhere else, it'll be lost. Let me give you the quarter tour. So, a la Mikey Brown, are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And if you need a little more height there.
That's some good looking panel work.
Yeah, literally for a quick.
Yeah, let's get a little better look here.
And,
yeah.
Basically, the bodywork on the car, we went for race car good. As far as a show car or really nice, it's not, because it still has the waves, it still has the dents. But basically, the way Mikey and I felt about it was, if it looks good from the stands to the starting line, that's what matters. It's got plenty of gloss, so it's race car good. Yeah. And but yeah.
So does it have a name yet?
It does. We've actually kind of kept that a little bit under wraps, but
so we're not ready to reveal that yet.
Well, we will. It actually got a name change.
Okay.
Originally, we had another name that we liked, but it didn't translate well to what we were doing. So, because of all the pesky little Volkswagens and whatnot in our class, it's going to be called the Exterminator.
Okay. I see.
So we're to the point now of a kind of final assembly as far as when things go in this time, they actually get tightened up, they're going to be in place. We're waiting on the cylinder head to be done. When that's done, the engine can be mostly assembled and we can start putting drivetrain in. But right now, we're just trying to suffice with doing suspension, all that sort of stuff. But
so are you gonna make any races this year, you think?
I'm trying to, but I'm almost getting to the mindset of still, instead of trying to thrash and get everything done, I'm almost of the mindset of, you know what, we just say we've lost a year and go into the winter with not a tremendous amount to do, and so that we can fine tune over the winter. I mean, I would like to, so that we know what we've got, but yeah, I don't know, we're on the fence about that right now.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when it's just me pretty much doing the work, and you know, I'm over 40 now, and I just can't do as much work as I used to.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
But I am proud to say this is just gray industrial paint. Hot Rod Dad said, hey, go get yourself some Rust-Oleum industrial paint, and it works good, and it does. And actually, if you get a look underneath the car looks like all of this. And
so did you just roll that and brush it on?
most of it is rolled and brushed. And honestly, you can't tell a big difference between the stuff that's been brushed and the stuff that's been sprayed. Now, what I do use, follow me. All the rat rod guys know this stuff because this is what they're doing. They're doing their patina paint jobs with.
Yeah.
But this stuff here slows it down to where the brush marks flow out.
Right.
Gives you plenty of time, and this stuff actually works really good. And I think a quart of it it's under $10 before you pay tax.
Yeah, I've used a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the rear end.
Yep. That's probably the best component of the car. We went pretty good on that. That's all quick performance stuff there. Well, except for the nodular center section. That's a strange engineering.
I was going to say, that's a nodular.
Yeah, that's a strange engineering picked up off of used from some drag racers.
Okay, cool.
And so it's like I said, it's all pretty good stuff on the inside. I don't think our little 6-cylinder is going to tear that out.
Yeah, I doubt that. How much horsepower do you think you're going to make?
The honest truth is, with my garage build engine, if I can make 325, I'll be feeling real good about it. I've had an engine builder tell me that he can make substantially more, but that's a pretty big check to try to write, bigger check than I'll ever be able to write. But you know what it boils down to is we're still starting out in the hole pretty bad, because the Volkswagens are capable of, we know at least 1.5 horsepower per cubic inch. By one of the other guys, by his own admission, that's what I figured it up. He's making 1.52 horsepower per cubic inch. Now, that is not impossible with the AMC Jeep 6-cylinder, but that is a stout engine. That's a stout combination. Yeah. It's hard to do that with a non-cross flow head. So we'll see what happens.
So we got over here the wheels and tires.
Yep.
We're running.
Thanks to Mikey Brown. I apologize, Mikey, these are a little bit dirty. We now have period correct racing seats.
Oh, I dig those.
Minimalist seats, and like I said, they're dirty.
Those look really good.
We also, thanks to Mikey Brown, have matching door panels. So, you know, Mikey likes to keep everything looking so. So when I talked to him about just painting the inside of the doors, he kind of made a face. And when he brought the car back to me, I had door panels. He said he couldn't stand the ugly. So, but anyway, as far as fabrication inside, you see our pedal cluster. We still have to mount that. That has to be done. There was something else, but, we've got to make a dash. But as far as the major fabrication, we're pretty much done with the heavy duty stuff. So we're painted inside, get the drivetrain in, we'll be mounting seats, we're mounting the pedal cluster, making the dash, and I still have to make a bulkhead back here. But
well, you've painted every square inch of this thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I drive myself crazy with that stuff. It's like I get a little bit anal about have everything painted. That's the reason if you do look underneath, the underside of the car is all painted also, which is kind of dumb because if anyone ever sees it again, it's probably because you're on your top.
That's right.
You know, so
yeah, you've crashed.
I actually used to race with a guy that had a sign painted on the bottom of his car. He said that way if I do roll it over, at least people have something to look at.
That's the cheapest advertising
Yeah,
if you have
yeah,
sponsors, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. That's a good use for a four-door.
Yeah, and you know, when I started cutting this car up, I had some folks that didn't appreciate what I was doing as far as the being a Studebaker purist. And what they failed to understand is this car was not hurt by road salt. The outer body of the car was actually quite good. But if you look at the places where pine needles build up, it's rusted out in places that made the car, you really couldn't have restored it, but it wasn't a, you know, it was a
It's not a real desirable car to restore anyway.
No, and on top of that, I also donated all the, like the engine and transmission went to a guy who was restoring a Studebaker
Well,
in Indiana.
that's a good cause.
Yeah, I gave away all the parts I could.
And chances are this car would end up at the scrapper anyway.
It's actually, its next stop was the scrap company.
So I'd rather see it live on as a gasser and racing than to be scrapped any day.
It literally came out of a dog lot in North Knox County, and had I not bought it for, you know, what I bought it for, basically the guy was selling it for a little more than what he could have got for it at the scrap yard, because its next stop was going to be the crusher. So it gets to live another life, and there'll be a kid somewhere looking and go, Dad, what's a Studebaker?
Yeah.
And you know, then that kid will know what a Studebaker is.
That's
So it's actually going to have a pretty good life, I think.
So tell us about the wheels and tires.
These wheels are actually pretty rare pieces. They came from Tommy Lee Bird's Hot Rod Hoarder swap meet. I think it's November every year in Dayton, Tennessee.
It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's right. These are actually, well, I don't think we can't see the stickers. They still have the stickers inside. These are 1965 Keystones. Didn't know there was such a thing. They're not the lightest wheel in the world. They're actually a steel wheel back here with a pressed in magnesium front, but they're period correct. They look good.
And the rules dictate you have to run period correct wheels and tires.
Yes. The rules don't, it doesn't have to be a true 1965 wheel, because as you can imagine, some of those would be not the safest thing in the world. But like the torque thrust Ds, you can run new ones because they made them back then. So it has to be either a wheel from the time period or a wheel that was available in that exact form at that time. So anyway, a set of 65 Keystone fronts with a set of very worn out Hoosier front runners. And then of course our ubiquitous
5 slots.
5 slots.
With drag masters.
Yep.
How wide are those?
Those are a 7-inch wide tread pattern. That is actually the spec tire for the super stock class in Southeast Gassers. And a couple of good things there. One, I can pick them up used, so I can kind of get a deal on the slicks. And with these small engines, the last thing you want to do is put too much slick on them, because if you dead hook the engine and kill it right on the starting line, they'll just never recover. They just don't have the capacity to recover. So anyway, we're running a little 7-inch, it's a 29-inch tall, 7-inch wide, 15 super stock slick.
And this is our transmission.
That is our transmission. It is probably, it might last 1 run or it might last 20 runs. It's not a racing transmission. That actually came out behind the V8 and V6 Dodge Dakotas, and also the 2-wheel drive, and in another form, 4-wheel drive Jeeps. That's called a AX15 transmission. It's considered a medium duty. It might last a little while, or it might explode and put gears all over the.
So ultimately, you're going to upgrade from this, though.
Absolutely, yeah. As soon as we win the lottery, the next thing on the step will probably be a Jericho transmission, a high tower Jericho, something, but that's kind of pie in the sky right now, because we're on a budget and just trying to get to the track. Yeah, that'll be the next, that is our weak link, and that's gonna be our next big step, will be an actual real racing transmission.
Cool. So while we're here, have you ever told us about the miscellaneous?
No. Okay, pardon the mess. This is the Miss Lorraine.
Miss Lorraine, that's what it is.
Apparently, whoever Mr. Cherney was, I guess it was their dad, he built 2 of these in about 1953. It was built in upstate New York. He built one for a son, which we don't know his name, and built this one for the daughter, who was Lorraine Cherney. So it's basically a copy of what back then they would have called a jalopy or a cut down, which was, I guess, kind of the front runner to a lot of the sprint car stuff. Right down to, you notice right here, he has built a very real looking but fake air pump, which, you know, as you know, the fuel systems on these things were used air pressure. So you'd see the guys pumping the air pressure up in the fuel system. So he's got that. That's, you know, a fake one of those. We know it's, you know, here we still have the script of the Miss Lorraine. And if we could get to it, up here on the grill, and one of the cool things about this car is all the things that, this is Lincoln. He's used Lincoln script to cut up and put her initials, Lorraine Cherney, in there.
Love the Nerf bars on this.
Yeah, Nerf bars. This actual functional strut rod.
Yeah, radius rods there on the side. And so, again, got Nerf bars back here on the back.
Yep. Side exhaust. And if you get to looking, he had access to so many parts. Right here we have our little hood emblem, which is the top of a 33 Chevrolet radiator. This was originally mounted on top of this. Now I've been told that's 33 Chevrolet.
Very cool.
And just because he had leftover parts, he mounted that up here because it would look cool. Then we have vents for the engine that are stainless steel boat transom.
Okay, looks like
exhaust.
Old Velocity stacks.
Right. And here's the big monster motor, which it does run. It is a cast iron ball bearing, 2 horsepower, what am I trying to say? Wisconsin. Yep, it's a Wisconsin, which if anybody on your channel, I need a cooling jacket for a Wisconsin AA made from the mid-30s up until I think around 1950. I badly need a cooling jacket. The carburetor is around back here, and we wanted to keep the period correct carburetor because it's such a neat looking piece. It's a Schibler, I think. But anyway, a rebuild kit for this carburetor does not exist. So I found a company out in Missouri that will make any carburetor rebuild kit. But this little tiny carburetor, you're looking at well over $100 for a rebuild kit. But we're keeping the original carburetor. So your 2.5 horse Wisconsin engine has a clutch from like a large lathe. It's hard to see back in here, which then via the shaft connects to a 1930s Plymouth 3-speed transmission. Okay, then on the output shaft of the transmission, they welded a cog, which drives a chain back to an actual car type differential, which they welded another sprocket onto the side of the differential to make the final drive on the thing. Steering box out of a 1930s car of some sort. We don't know exactly what it is. Let's see more goodies here. I think it's Ford V8 script here.
Yep, looks like it.
Then, since it has a Plymouth transmission, which actually has forward and reverse, we've cut up another Ford.
Oh, I see,
L, and an R for reverse.
Yeah, cool. Got a little faux speedometer there, looks like.
Yep, and check this out. This is one of the neatest pieces of this car. Okay, so you have a faux speedometer, which he's actually tack welded the needle on at, what is it? I don't know, whatever mile per hour he's got it set on. Well, if you'll notice, this script is all Art Deco.
Wow.
Very 1920s Art Deco. But if you'll notice, it starts
55.
at 55. Okay. I actually believe that is an airspeed indicator.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Probably a 1920s, 1930s
Yeah.
airplane.
Yeah.
And being Art Deco, that gives it away, you know, as the time period. You actually have a gas pedal, clutch pedal, and it actually has a hand brake. And then, of course, this is your shifter. And he's put all fake gauges. You have amp meter. You have all this neat stuff in it.
Check out the treads on those tires. It's even got the original tires on it there.
And look at these lights. These are actually faceted glass lenses. It has a little tiny faceted glass lens in the front that's red.
Really?
So you have red here and white here. A gentleman at a car show looked this over and he said that he thought those were 1930s or 1940s, either white or international truck.
Like the chicken lots off of a truck.
But they're actually real glass that's faceted.
I would have guessed that would have been another boat accessory, but
it could be. A lot of this stuff I'm going off on just people at shows have looked and said, you know, this is what I think it is.
Yeah. One cool little thing I just spotted right here. It's got a map light right here out of an old car of some sort. I don't know what it is exactly, but
the switch here, I don't quite understand, but I'm sure he had
that may be a license plate light.
Yeah, could be.
Because it's got the red faceted lens there also.
That's one of the neatest things about this car is just every time you look at it, you find another part of something else that he incorporated.
Yeah, very cool piece.
Yeah, but if it works out, I mean, I've got a lot of irons in the fire, but I actually have a partner on this. We bought this thing probably 10 years ago at a show. We just looked at it, fell in love with it, and we would actually like to get it running, possibly for the fall rumble, and get it running and display it, but ultimately we need to find it a new home. It's just, we've had it for years, we've enjoyed it, enjoyed looking it over, working on it. But like I said, it runs. Good running little engine. We just need a carburetor kit, it was leaking fuel. And hopefully get it running and find it a new owner that'll maybe show it and use it. And it'd be super cool to cruise around in at shows. You gotta have some new tires, because those are so fragile. They'll hold air, but they're very fragile. It's the original tires from that time period.
Well, Todd, thanks for telling us about your projects. I'm gonna get out of here before he puts me to work.
Yeah, you better get out of here. I'm gonna make you turn some bolts.
There you go, folks. There's an update on the Studebaker gasser and the Miss Lorraine. Y'all stay tuned to check into the Southeastern gassers and go to one of their races. They have one coming up in Knoxville. I'm going to try to make it to. And until next time.
Y'all get out there and build something.
That's right. Y'all get out there and build something.